This seminar is brought to you by Trocar.
I'm Captain George Gozdz, host of Time Florida Sportsman. In today's seminar, I'm going to talk to you about the variety of hooks and when to utilize each of those styles. Hooks are pretty much broken down into two categories that most of us use. You have your J hook or you have your circle hook. And then obviously they vary in size and diameter. You have a fine wire hook and then you have a heavy wire hook. And each of these has their own applications. The J hook is pretty much meant to catch a fish anywhere in his mouth, snag anything in there that can possibly get a hold of. Whereby the circle hook is meant to roll out of the fish's mouth and catch the corner of the jaw. J hook applications vary, but what I have a tendency to use them for is when I'm fishing heavy structure and I need to pull the fish out right away. When I'm snook fishing and the fish comes up and eats the bait right away, I want to get that fish out of there immediately. I don't have time for that snook to turn his head and for that circle hook to roll and catch the corner of the mouth. If I'm attentive, if I'm waiting for the bite and I strike that fish right away, my tendency to gut hook him is not high. But I do have a tendency to pull that fish out right away. So I utilize a J hook in heavy structure situations. Also when I'm utilizing them with soft plastic lures as well. If I'm using a gulp jerk shad or a gulp shrimp, I'll tie in a J hook as well. Now the circle hook has its applications as well. You know, this is a great hook to utilize when you're just sticking a rod in a rod holder. Let's say we're offshore, kite fishing for pelagics, the rod's in a rod holder, nobody's attending to it. If it gets the bite, the fish swims away. This has the tendency just to, catch the fish right on the corner of the mouth. When you're tarpon fishing, this has greatly improved the landing rate of tarpon, just the circle hook alone. It has a tendency to catch the hook, catch the tarpon right in the corner of the mouth and improve your chances of landing them. Another application for this is actually a requirement when you're fishing for bottom fish on the west coast of Florida. So regulations require that you utilize the circle hook. A lot of tournaments as well, a lot of pelagic or sailfish tournaments require that you utilize the circle hook. So another thing to consider is the size of the hook. And we always talk about matching the size of the hook to the size of your bait. Not only the size itself, but the size wire. If I'm tarpon fishing with a small shrimp, I can't use a heavy wire circle hook. What's going to happen is it's just going to run that shrimp down to the bottom. It's not going to be natural presentation. So I'll have to utilize a finer wire circle hook. I may lose some fish, but it's necessary to get that natural presentation. And that's your basics on hook styles, sizes, and when to use them.